Ms. Goodridge, please, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to all the witnesses. So I have a series of questions, but I guess I'm going to start out with to you, Mr. Frank. Workplace benefit plan. So if a workplace decides that they want to add a particular drug or service, is there a possibility to add just one service?
Well, yes. I mean, if you mean by service, so a typical plan would cover prescription drugs, would have dental coverage, vision coverage, would have all the paramedical services, travel. So there's a suite of solutions that can be provided there. And employers can have some flexibility into what they want to offer. At the end of the day, it's their choice what package they want to offer to their employees rather. With respect to the drug class, yes, we absolutely do see employers covering certain classes of drugs and not others. You tend to see that in the higher cost areas, some of the rare disease spaces, for example, certain medications would be considered on, and often different employers will have a different tolerance for how much risk and cost they're prepared to sustain. So we do have a variability in what's offered to Canadians. And
based on that, if this bill were to go forward, would you be concerned that employers would come to you asking to have these two classes of drugs removed from their current plans, therefore driving up the cost to taxpayers?
That is a concern, and I think, again, if you read the legislation, it doesn't stop at those two drugs, and I think that's one of the big things we need to keep reminding ourselves. It contemplates within a year going well beyond that. And so if you get into a situation where hundreds or thousands of medications are covered, then absolutely employers are going to start asking themselves, you know, why should I be still in the game? And so we work really hard to educate them on the value of the programs that they're offering their employees. They, like I said, tends to be more flexible, much broader than what they may get on a public plan. But that pressure and those questions will start if this bill, 2 years down the road, has come to fruition. And so I think, and again, that's not the vision that we heard from the minister today. So I think that disconnect is what's giving us pause.
No, and I appreciate that. And I really do appreciate, Mr. Bolesky, you sharing your lived experience when it comes to your experience with the OHIP plan or OHIP Plus. As someone from Alberta, I'm not terribly familiar with Ontario's plan. So I did find that to be quite insightful. I'm frustrated in large part as we're studying this bill that we don't have the opportunity to hear from all different provincial plans to see where those gaps particularly are, because I don't necessarily know if those gaps are the same in every single province. And so my question becomes, are we creating, potentially by going down this path, solving for a problem that might not exist equally across the provinces, and therefore creating a situation where we are going to reward provinces that have done very little and perhaps not provide that, which would therefore ask the question of, would provinces continue to offer these kinds of plans if they were to not do this? So this becomes this very circular question of creation and complications. So my question to Mr. Giroux, when you have put forward your prescription costings in your most recent budget, did you factor in the record-breaking inflation we're facing in the future costings?
Yes, we took into account inflation, past inflation, as well as our projections for future inflation. So did you also factor in if provinces were to drop some of these drugs from their existing plans? No, we did not include any potential provinces reducing coverage for diabetes and contraceptives.
So this could potentially cost substantially more if provinces and territorial plans decided to remove these drugs as a result of this legislation.
It is indeed a risk, as would some employers, who could decide to reduce their coverage, knowing that there is a public plan that would cover their employees.
So effectively, we have very little idea how much just these two drug categories will effectively cost the federal government. So we're being asked to vote on something that we have no clue how much it's going to cost.
Well, I wouldn't say we have no clue, but there's quite a bit of uncertainty regarding the costing of such a plan. Public plans and private plans to offload some of their responsibilities onto the public plan.
I find that very concerning, and I want to thank all of you guys for being here today. Thank you.